This is part 3 of my hard gel overlay tutorial. This is when we're actually going to apply the hard gel. So first I like to start out with Luminary Primer. This is, I believe it's called Commit. It's my all-time favorite primer. I also just want to say it is not recommended to mix brands, but this is just the best combo I have found for this client. But if possible, always try to stay within one system and follow that system's guidelines. After I get the primer all scrubbed in and ready to go, I'm going to use my rubber base. This one is linked on my storefront. I believe it's called Oxy, and I've really liked it so far. It is HEMA-free, which I'm always a little bit wary of HEMA-free base gels because they just don't tend to adhere as well, but this one I've had no problems. It's been great. I make sure I really scrub this in though to that primer layer. And I go through and apply this to all 5 nails on one hand and then the next 5 on the other hand at a time. You can also see she had a broken nail and I am going to put an extension on that, and I did put this base gel down for her extension as well. I am going to show you how I fix that nail in the next part, so stay tuned. This rubber base gel is a little bit on the thicker side, and you can tell it was struggling a little bit. It was taking me a long time to get it scrubbed in on every nail. This client has very eggshell-like brittle nails because she has an autoimmune disease and it causes her to have thin nails. So this is the best combo I have found for her. For the hard gel, I'm using American Creator Framework. This is the shade Almondine, and I'm just prepping my brush here. So I'm going to get a little bit of gel on the brush and really scrub that in on the lid. Then once my brush is prepped, I am going to do a slip layer on 2 of her nails. I always start with the pinky first, and this is going to act as a map layer. I'm not going to cure this yet. I'm going to leave it wet so I can tell the bead of gel kind of where I want it to be and where I want it to sit. Once I've got that slip layer applied on 2 of her nails, I'm going to go back into my pot of hard gel and grab a little bit more product and use a little bead of gel right near the back third of her nail, and I'm going to bubble it up towards the cuticle and then left and right kind of go down her nail. I'm using very light pressure towards her cuticle and then a little bit more pressure as I get down towards her free edge, just so that I can get a nice thin application. I also will just sometimes use the edge of my brush to kind of smooth things out and put more gel where I need to. Honestly, I get better at hard gel the more nails that I do, so the first couple are always a little bit, I don't want to say janky because they still turned out really pretty, but you know what I mean. Then I'm going to grab a bead for the next nail, and while I'm doing this one, the other one is just going to kind of self-level. This gel, I really like it. It self-levels beautifully. So again, placing that bead towards the back third and then swiping left and right down her nail till I get to the free edge. I'm always a little bit heavier handed on the right side of a nail, so I always have to make sure that I put enough product on that side. Then I'm going to get my liner brush and I'm just going to clean up those edges a little bit before I have her flip her hand over. I have her flip her hand over just so we can self-level that gel a little bit better and I can guide that apex where I want it to be. On a shorter nail like this, I'm not going to need such a thick apex, but I still want to make sure that it's there so these nails are nice and strong. Just letting gravity do a little bit of that work for me, and then once I'm satisfied with that, she'll flip her hand back over and I'll make sure that application is nice and tight near her sidewalls and near her cuticle. This is my all-time favorite liner brush. It's the Winstonia Berry Wine medium length brush. I use it for literally everything, and it is also linked on my storefront. I've only replaced this brush one time since nail school, and I've been doing nails for almost 6 years. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let her cure that. Because I am using a tinted hard gel, it's really important to make sure it is curing all the way through. So make sure you're using a lamp that has the correct nanometers and replace it often if you need to. And make sure all of these nails are getting a full cure at least 60 seconds. I like to go a little bit longer just to be sure, just to be extra careful, especially with these tinted hard gels. It's so easy to undercure them. So I normally would do both of these last two nails at the same time, but because one of them was broken, I'm gonna leave that for the end, and I'm just gonna do this middle nail. This time I just didn't feel like I grabbed enough hard gel, so with my liner brush, I'm gonna grab just a teeny bit more gel and place it where it was lacking. And then again, just kind of using my liner brush to move that gel around. Then again, I'm going to make sure that apex is right where I want it. Luckily, this nail looked really good when I flipped it, so we just had her flip right back over, cleaned up those edges, and this hand was basically ready to go. I did do her thumb after. I always have my clients do their thumbs last and separately so that they can cure them properly. If they just stick their hand right in, that thumb is never going to cure right, so we always do those last. That's it. I'll see you in part 4.